Hello. How are you?
Really good. How are you doing?
Good. Surviving.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, we're talking May 8th, and this is the day that In These Arms debuted on the charts in 1993. So it's a perfect day to do this.
It really is. I think that might have been the third single off that album.
Let me go check. I think it might have been. Yeah. I didn't write down if it was the first, second, or third, but I know I'm tweeting about. Oh, I tweeted about it this morning that it was the debut. Yeah, it is the third single. You're right.
One of the big things that made me want to speak with you particularly is because I know you're a Bon Jovi fan, and it's really nice to see someone in media who treats this band with respect.
I love Bon Jovi. I mean, I have a 500 song playlist that I keep in my phone.
Good.
So yeah, I'm deep in deep dive, and I've got the new album in there too, 2020.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel about it overall?
Uh, I broke it apart into a playlist, so I have one song here, one song there, and it works perfectly fine. I think as a whole, as an experience of 45 minutes or 50 minutes, gets a little tedious. But
Mhm.
I think if you spread the songs out, they're perfectly fine. You know,
Yeah.
I don't have any qualms with it. And people always say, well, it's not like the old Bon Jovi. It's not like this. Well, none of us are the old. I'm not the old Mitch. You're not the old Naomi. We move
Yeah.
on. It's just the way it is. So it drives me crazy when people say it's not like the old stuff. You know,
And I mean, half of that songwriting team has changed too, right? So there's part of that, even though it was starting to change direction even before Richie left.
it it was,
Mhm.
but how can you expect somebody 30, 40 years into a career to write the same songs over and over again? And it's a can't win situation, because if they did 40 years of the exact same song, 40 years of Living on a Prayer,
Mhm.
fans would be on Twitter going, oh, the band never evolves, it's always the same thing. So
Yeah. It's a no-win situation.
it's a no-win situation. I honestly, I don't know how these bands do it.
Yeah.
um I would probably just give up and say, listen, you want to hear from me, fine, don't hear from me, I'm okay, I don't need this stuff. But you listen to a song like Limitless, you listen to a song like Blood in the Water, you listen to
That's my
Beautiful Drug,
favorite.
they're perfectly fine.
Blood in the Water is a great song.
It really is. And so is Limitless. Limitless is perfectly fine. If Limitless comes out on New Jersey, we're not having a discussion. People are going, oh man, that was great song number 9 on New Jersey. But because it comes out in 2020, people are like, oh, you got to bring back Richie. You got to bring,
Well,
yeah.
I think it's pretty much said and done. I think it's over with Richie. I don't think that's going to happen again.
I'm not so convinced.
No? Do you think
No.
things will change down the road?
I think money talks. And I think after a pandemic, for Bon Jovi to come out and reign at, you know, be back on top, I think that in 2022 or 2023, it's not a far-fetched concept that John and the boys want to do a stadium tour and be part of the big thing again,
Mhm.
and get Richie back. I don't see that as being completely far-fetched. If you come to somebody and say, listen, we are going to give you oodles of millions of dollars, 45 million, 20 million, whatever it is. I think if you're Richie, I think if you're John, you just go, yeah, I think I can take 45 million for a summer. Okay, why not?
I
Um,
see your point on that, but I definitely saw that Guns N' Roses did it and we never thought that would happen.
Guns N' Roses have done it. Um, Motley Crue have been trying to do it for 2 years, but it's not. The
Mm.
pandemic is not panning out for them.
Yeah.
There's, they're in a space where they don't have to necessarily like each other or dislike each other. They just have to show up,
Yeah.
do their parts, take the check. And a lot of them have to start thinking about family, about legacy, about what do we leave. And I don't see why they would leave that on the table. And the talk in the media, that we see back and forth, has changed in tone over the last 2 years.
Mhm.
5 years ago, it was like, meh, screw each other. And now, if you look at the reports and interviews with John and interviews with Richie over the last 2 years, they're like, well, never say never. It could
Mm.
happen. Who knows? Um, and now I would personally think, do like Iron Maiden. Don't throw Phil out. Keep Phil in there.
Mhm.
Bring Richie back. Do the whole 8 people on stage thing. Why not? Let's have a party. But I'm willing to bet top dollar that before 2025, we will see a Bon Jovi reunion with Richie. I really do.
I'd be happy with that. Absolutely. I was at the show after Richie left because it happened in Calgary.
Calgary, yeah.
And then, so I missed all that, unfortunately. I just got to see what people were talking about in the message forums and whatnot, getting ready for the show the next night in Edmonton. And yeah, their first show with Phil, officially. I was at that one. So it was kind of crazy.
And I bet you it was great because Phil's great.
He even did his harmonies. Like I mean, it probably took him some time, but he did quite a few harmonies, vocal harmonies. So, I mean, he was consummate professional,
Phil is no slouch. And by the way, I'm just looking. I have Aftermath of the Lowdown by Richie in my phone. I think that's such an underrated album. So
it's true. It's true. And like, I was really thankful for the closure that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony kind of provided on the situation, because just seeing them all together on stage just felt good at that time. It seems that they were great, like brothers,
Yeah, I don't think they're not brothers. I think, and I'm not in a position to have $80 million to argue over, but I think when you start making that much money, you've got a lot of people on the team going, you're the reason for the success. No, you're the reason for the success. And it pulls people apart. And then they come back for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and they just go, you know what? We started this when we were 17, 18, 20, whatever it was. We didn't have the teams that were telling us how great we were. So I don't think there's any real animosity between the two. I think there's a lot of publicists and record company guys and friends that go, you're the star, yeah. And it gets in the way.
But just taking that opportunity to think back to when they started it, when they were kids, I'm sure that's exactly what it felt like for them. Look how far we came.
Yeah, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which I would argue put them in there begrudgingly, because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is anything but rock and roll. It's all about apparently rap and alternative, and anything that's rock and roll, they go, oh no, can't have Foreigner in there. Oh no, can't put a rock band in there.
So strange, so messed up. But there's definitely a lot more pop stars, I think, than rock stars in there.
I know. I'll give you my quick Foreigner pitch, but first 5 albums by Foreigner were top 5 Billboard albums. The first 5 were top 5. And you can't tell me that didn't influence somebody somewhere where you go, damn, that's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame worthy.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure Bon Jovi's first 5 weren't top 5. I'm pretty sure Joan Jett's first 5 weren't top 5. And yet,
Foreigner is one of those bands where as soon as you start hearing the hits, you're like, I know all of these songs already. You might not have realized it, but you do.
You do.
Yeah.
And they have fed American top 40 radio for 40 years. And if that's not Rock and Roll Hall of Fame worthy, where it just says this is a staple of the scene. Anyway, back to Bon Jovi. We love our Bon Jovi. I was going to wear a Bon Jovi shirt, but I picked out Ozzy out of the closet by mistake. Oh well.
That's okay.
Got my beautiful Ozzy. But yes, let's talk Bon Jovi. Yeah.
Definitely my favorite album of all time with them is These Days. Pretty underrated. A lot of people don't know about that album. But a lot of these albums, those albums were better with the bonus tracks. And these days, definitely what they sold in North America, you just went, a lot of ballads. And then you get the bonus tracks and you go, So their bonus tracks are like, maybe they just didn't fit the mood of the album in their opinion, but some of them are way better than anything I've ever, like the song Stay, or I Could Make a Living Out of Loving You. It's incredible.
Neurotica off of
Great.
Crush.
Absolutely love that one. And
Yeah, I spoke to David Coverdale about the song "Looking for Love," which was supposed to be on the '87 album, and it was in Europe. And I go, Dave, it's Dave. And sorry, you never say Dave to David Coverdale. I learned that by making that mistake once. But I said, David, I said, "Looking for Love" is one of the greatest songs you've ever written. Why was it only available in Europe? And he's like, well, you asked John Kalodner that question because that was a stupid mistake to take it off. So I'm assuming that on some of these bonus tracks with Bon Jovi, somebody in the record company goes, ballads is what sells. You don't need neurotica. Nobody's going to understand neurotica from Bon Jovi. Take that off.
Or that song. There's a prostitute.
Prostitute. Yeah. Wedding Day.
Yeah. Like there's tons of them. They're so good. Like I have a massive playlist of just B-sides and unreleased stuff.
Me too. And I guarantee that Prostitute is a song that somebody at the record company at Universal probably said, dude, you can't be talking about prostitutes. You got a clean image. You can't have that on the record. It's going to tarnish you. I guarantee they had that conversation. I don't know for sure. I wasn't there, but I guarantee they had that conversation. Oh, hey.
I'm sure my cat will jump up here from time to time, but that's okay. All good. But yeah, like if I wanted to show a non-fan 3 songs to show them that Bon Jovi wasn't a fluffy arena rock band, which ones would you pick? I think I would go with My Guitar Lies Bleeding in My Arms as one of the first ones.
Should I let these dogs out? Well, let's see. That Bon Jovi is a non-pop band.
Yeah, non-fluffy arena rock, because that's what a lot of people tend to think. Like they only listen. They've heard like "Living on a Prayer," and they contend in their minds.
All right, I'm going to go with these. I'm going to go with Fear.
Nice.
I'm going to go with the one I mentioned, Neurotica.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, where else am I going to go? I got a ton rolling around my head. I mean, Prostitute wouldn't be a bad thing, just, but maybe it's too contrived because it's Prostitute. I'm just trying to think. I would probably have to go to 7,800 Fahrenheit, maybe like Price of Love.
Very good. Good choices. Like I said, I would have picked My Guitar Lies.
If I Was Your Mother.
Arms. If I Was Your Mother was on my list. That's actually my favorite Bon Jovi song.
Yeah, If I Was Your Mother. But Fear is definitely not a pop rock anything.
Mm-mm. The big thing about the album Keep the Faith, which is the main focus of today, is for me, I found that it was the make it or break it album for them. If that hadn't taken off the way it had, I don't think they'd be here today to the capacity that they are because of the timing. But with the climate changing into grunge at that time, they survived grunge with this record.
I would definitely agree that they survived grunge. And by the way, let's not overstate the importance of grunge. Let us focus on the fact that if you look at the Billboard charts in the early 90s, every single rock band that we loved was pumping out ballad after ballad after ballad after ballad. You look at Motley Crue, you look at Whitesnake, you look at Def Leppard. It was one ballad after the other, and they killed themselves. I mean, at some point you go, wow, I want my band to have balls, and another ballad. Great. Like I'm a huge Aerosmith fan, or I was. I mean, I'm not as much now, but I was a huge. I mean, that was my band along with Bon Jovi, and it was Crying, followed by Amazing, and it was just like, oh my god, could you stop?
Yeah, the trifecta of ballads stuff that album was. God. I found it was just to showcase those videos. I thought that was the whole point of those 3 songs being released the way they were.
But yeah, but I lost my interest at that time in those bands because they stopped being the bands. They started being this pablum, and it was just like, ugh. So it had nothing to do with grunge. I mean, grunge came in and I mean, shooting star. I mean, it was up 2 years, 3 years, and then it was gone.
Mm.
So I know everybody likes to say Nirvana killed hair metal, but I will argue till the day I die that the incessant balladry killed that scene, because people were just like, "Wow, dude, if you're not going to rock, forget it. I'm not going to stay." But what was the original question? Because I got off track.
No, I kind of felt that this was the make it or break it album for
Right.
them. Like this
Yeah.
determined what the next 20, 30 years were going to be for Bon Jovi.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I remember very specifically waiting for the new Bon Jovi album, and there was talks of, oh, they broke up, and then there was the rip cover, and Richie and John don't talk to each other anymore, and blah 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 blah. And oh, there's a picture of John with his hair cut, and you put
Yeah.
it on, and you heard "Keep the Faith," and you go, and then "I Believe," which was a great opening statement, right? Like, I believe
Incredible
in this
opening
band,
track.
I believe in this whatever, I believe in this music, whatever, however you want to credit it, but it's "I believe," and you go, yeah. And then the second one is "Keep the Faith," and you're like, yeah, damn right, I believe, and I'm going to keep the faith. And then it sort of became anthemy just on those first two. And by the time, and I had bought the Japanese version, by the time you get down to "Save a Prayer," you're like, yeah, all right, yeah, I'm in, you win. And boy, they re-released that album in so many different configurations. I mean, I have a blue version of it and a this and a gatefold,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like, okay, you win. I'm in,
Yeah.
and blame it on the love of rock and roll. You're damn right I will. So yeah, it really, had it been like "Get a Grip" from Aerosmith, with just ballad after ballad after ballad, I don't think I would have cared.
Mm-hmm.
But you go from "Woman in Love" to "Fear" to "If I Was Your Mother" to "Save a Prayer" to "Keep the Faith." You go, oh, okay, our boys still have some rock in them. Okay, I'm good.
I felt these
So
songs were all like pretty much very different too. From each
yeah,
other. I didn't find any filler on this album, to be quite honest. Not really.
I don't.
Yeah.
Well, I'm one of those that I don't find any Bon Jovi album to have filler. I like all the songs. So
Mm-hmm.
uh,
And
people will argue that what is it, "Social Disease"? Oh, it's terrible.
I like
I
it.
like "Social Disease."
I like it. I
Have
do.
they put "Edge of a Broken Heart" instead of "Social Disease"? And I keep saying, instead of, we had CDs. They should have put both. What the hell? Give me more, not less. What are you talking about?
I'm gonna go.
So
I'm going off on the B sides again. "Love Is War," New Jersey. Oh,
yeah,
fantastic.
great song. "Rosie," which they had recorded back in the day. It ended up on Richie's solo album, but there are versions of "Rosie" with John singing floating around.
Oh, I'd love to find that.
What a great song.
So, I mean,
By the way, the one thing that you would love to find is down the street from me lives Aldo Nova, about
right.
15 minutes away, and I was at his house in August.
I watched your interview.
Yeah, oh, thank you. And yeah, and I was at his house, and he has this box of cassette tapes, and I said, "Oh, what are those tapes?" And he pulls it out. He goes, "Those are the Bon Jovi Blaze of Glory demos." And I'm like, just sitting on a box like that. He goes, yeah, I should digitize them one day. And anyway, he takes it out and he puts it in the tape player. And you basically hear John in a hotel room all by himself doing an acoustic version of Blaze, like a scratch track.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh man, could you please digitize those? Because
don't let that crumble to dust. You
oh
got
my
to
God.
digitize that.
And it was amazing. And first of all, I was in his studio, so you had those big speakers and the studio sound. And to hear John, and I'm going to say the word naked, but I mean, obviously not the way he was dressed, but just that naked voice, that naked vocal, no production, just him and an acoustic guitar doing Blaze of Glory. And it's like, wow. That's amazing. That was amazing. And he played a couple of the other tracks too. I forget what, I think it might have been Santa Fe or
that's my favorite one off that album.
Yeah, and I think the other one was Blood. Anyway, he played a couple of them, and I know my buddy Jeremy, who put it on his YouTube feed, he put a little snippet of the Blaze of Glory because Aldo said, I don't care if you tape it, whatever. So you can go listen to that. Well, 30
Yes.
seconds of it.
Yeah, I mean, talking about Keep the Faith too, this was also a time where there was management change. They had fired Doc McGee around that time and created Bon
Yep.
Jovi management. So I
Yep.
think it was the beginning of John becoming a businessman, which he's very well known for now.
Yep. And taking matters into his own hand. I think if
Mhm.
you look at the New Jersey tour, and I've spoken to folks about this, Doc kept saying, stay on the hamster wheel, stay on the hamster wheel, stay on the hamster wheel. You know, well, I booked you another 40 shows. And I was like, oh, on top of the other 200? Great.
Mhm.
And from what I understand afterwards, and, you know, I've interviewed Richie and I've interviewed Doc and stuff. My understanding afterwards was that John just went, we're not doing that again.
Yep.
We're going to do it my way from now on. And when I'm tired, we're resting. And when I want to rock, we're going to rock. And when we're going to stay home, I'm going to stay home. That's
Mhm.
it. But yeah, I think a management change was due. I think that's when he brought in Eileen Schreiberman. Good old Eileen. Anyway, got rid
Yeah.
of her.
Yeah, no, I mean, like that was the biggest problem at the end of the New Jersey tour when he was having to shoot himself up with steroids just to get through a show because he was so exhausted. That's not good for anybody to have to live
Nope.
that way. So I'm glad that they took control. And I mean, he'd already been doing management for a while, like getting into with Aldo Nova's career and Skid Row's career. He had been already going in that direction.
Yeah, and you know what I find through the years that the most successful artists are always the one that have taken charge. You look at Def Leppard with Joe Elliott and Phil. You look at Gene and Paul in Kiss, and you look at Phil Collins, and you look at David. They take charge.
Mhm.
You know, Nikki Sixx. You know, successful bands take charge of business. They know what they want. They know how to get it, and it completely made sense for John to take over and decide this is the vision. And you know, probably that's probably why Richie got disenfranchised eventually, because John maybe I don't know, but
Mhm.
good times.
Yeah.
Keep the Faith. I'm trying to think how many shows I saw on that tour. Probably 4 or 5. I remember seeing Ottawa, Montreal, Saratoga Springs.
Yeah, you're in a good area to get around to see the different shows too, because those cities are a lot closer together than out here in Western Canada.
Yeah, it being on the outskirts of Montreal has made it real easy because bands will either, you know, they'll do Boston, New Hampshire, New York, Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa. So,
Hmm.
you know, within a 6-hour drive, you can go catch a band like 5 times on tour. Just,
Hmm.
I love it.
And they're all cities that always get the shows too, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Boston always has a show. Montreal sometimes, Ottawa sometimes, but yeah, there's always one to be seen. And
Can-
Bon Jovi loves this area.
They do. And it's funny because like being in Edmonton, we used to be the city that was like, oh, maybe we'll get the big tour, just maybe, or then the tour dates come out and it's Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, and you're like, but then we got the new arena, which hasn't had a lot of opportunity to be used yet because obviously from COVID. But I mean, I've seen probably already 6 shows in that arena and it's
Wow.
fantastic, state of the art
Wow.
place. So when you ever come out to Edmonton, got to catch a show there.
I got it. Yeah, I got to catch a show. By the way, just to finish on Aldo Nova,
Mhm.
when I was at his studio, he's like, because he has like 3 or 4 different studios in his basement, you
Mhm.
know. And I was standing in one, and he goes, you know, that's where Richie recorded the live album. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. Obie O'Brien and Richie came up here, and the live album that they put out in whatever 96 or 7. When did they put that out? 96, 97?
I thought it was
Later?
after Crush, wasn't it? I
Trying
thought
to
it
here,
was
let me,
after Crush.
yeah, he goes, but was it after Crush? Yeah, it was after Crush. Yeah, one, okay, 2001.
One Wild Night Live, I think
One,
it's
one,
called.
yeah. He's like, yeah, he goes, Richie did all his parts in there. I'm like, but it's a live album. He goes, you tell yourself that, Mitch. You tell yourself that.
That's great.
So Richie Sambora's One Wild Night live performances were, well, at least for the most part, redubbed in Hudson, Quebec.
That's all it was. Just a touch up.
Just touch up, yeah, just cosmetic fixes, right? Sure. Yeah.
I think with the cohesive theme throughout Keep the Faith, although the songs were all quite different from each other, was it felt bluesier, grittier. There was a lot more organ and piano in it, rootsier than it was in the late 80s. So, and I felt that they weren't really concerned with track length because Dry County, the epic 9 minute and some second song, is probably one of the greatest tunes they've ever done. So
it's also one of the only songs over 4 minutes that I actually like. I just don't like songs that are 6, 7, 8 minutes long, because a lot of them just have a lot of parts that they just repeat, and you just go, just, effing snip it out.
Hey Jude.
Yeah. Like that. And you just go, just like get to the chorus, stop boring us,
Yeah.
And Dry County actually, it actually works. The only other band that I can tolerate doing long songs is UFO. Other than that, chop them down. Like there's a Guns N' Roses demo of November Rain that's 4 minutes long. It's glorious.
Really?
Oh, and then you hear the 9-minute version, you go, oh, just go back to the 4-minute version. So much better,
Before COVID, I was a karaoke host too, as one of my jobs. And I liked when someone does a song that's 9 minutes. It gives me a chance to do a bunch of other things and come back. But yeah.
You sing Dry County while I go pee. Just go.
I always feel so selfish singing that song because I'm taking up the whole 9 minutes that other people could be singing. But I was like, I don't care. I love it.
It's a great song.
And this album was ranked number 21 on Kerrang's 100 albums you must hear before you die.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Which I thought, this is the album they chose. That's pretty cool. I thought.
That's not a bad. Well, listen, for Kerrang or Metal Hammer or any of those to choose a Bon Jovi album, I'm down with that.
Yeah, it's nice. If I kind of have a little bit of a breakdown track by track here of things I wanted to bring up about each song, starting at the very start where we touched on I Believe, right? Well, like you had said, what an incredible way to kick off the album. And I thought John was really at a vocal high in his career during this time. And it's very evident on this track.
Yeah, I won't disagree. I mean, the whole album from start to finish was a renouveau. I mean, you came off the New Jersey tour, like I said before, you came off all these we broke up rumors, Bon Jovi will never exist. I mean, we saw all the articles in Metal Edge and in Kerrang and all that. And then you hit I Believe, and the performance is believable. The guitar playing is great. The voice is great. I would suggest that Huey McDonald's bass playing was great, because we all know that Alec didn't play on anything.
Yeah.
The whole thing's, the statement was great. I mean, it was just the perfect track to come back after the layoff and go, yeah, we're back.
Do you think that would have worked as the lead-off single? Or do you think it's good the way it was?
It's a good question. Would it have worked as it might have, though. I think Keep the Faith had a little bit more pop sensibilities, a little bit more sort of Living on the Prayer kind of thing going on, where fans could relate to it. I Believe is a great song, but is it a single or is it a lead? I don't know if it would have worked as a single. It might have been a bit too hard edged for some radio stations to play, and therefore they might not have added it to the playlist. Whereas Keep the Faith was, rocky enough for the rock stations and poppy enough for the top 40 stations. So, I mean, it would have worked for me. I just don't know if it would have worked business wise.
Yeah, I think they made the right choice. And with Keep the Faith too, I mean, it was a very strong message throughout. I was going to say that bass line is incredible, and they really let the bass work shine. And it's funny because in my notes I had said Alec or Hugh to be determined. So,
well, my understanding, and when I last interviewed Richie, I asked him, they were going into the Hall of Fame, and you was going to be inducted with them.
Mm,
And I said, I'm glad that you had you inducted, because we know that he was, from Runaway onwards, he was on the albums.
mm-hmm.
And he goes, yeah, you're right. And then he went on to say that the reason they couldn't use Alec is because Alec didn't get the songs and was moving too slow, and you moved quick and got them done. So my understanding over the years is that Alec really didn't play on much, if anything, and that pretty much everything is you. So
Mm-hmm.
I am going to suggest that you is on Keep the Faith and the song, and
Mm-hmm.
that's his bass part. That's what I'm going to suggest now. They can you correct me later.
Yeah.
They can correct me later, but I don't believe I'm wrong on that one. But yeah, what a bass line. And that's one thing that also was very different with that song. Is you listen to the other ones and it was about the Richie Sambora guitar solo, or it was about John's vocal. They never focused on the bass. It was never about the bass.
Mhm.
What's a great Bon Jovi bass song before Keep the Faith?
Can't think of one, really.
I can't think of one. I mean, Runaway is about keyboards,
Mm-hmm.
and Living on a Prayer is about that vocal harmony and the songwriting. What's a Bon Jovi bass song before Keep the Faith? So to me, that was interesting, that suddenly they said, okay, here's a new element, a new element. Yeah, you didn't think we had new elements, but here's a new element. We got
Yeah,
you.
exactly. I wonder how that worked for them with the live shows with Alec, if he was able to keep up with the parts or not. Because I could sense that John can get very easily frustrated when things aren't going right.
Yeah,
I've literally
and
seen him in concert where the band had made a mistake, an audible mistake, and they got the death glare from
yeah.
John, you know?
But go
So
back and look at some of the video. There's a lot of death glares going on towards Alec, where the song you just go, oh, and then he just goes,
Mhm.
right, gotcha. Go look at Buffalo 1993 or whatever, that famous bootleg. That's real. There's a lot of stuff where John is just like, oh. And I think that was part of the reason why they had to get rid of him. They're just like, you don't play on the albums, you can't do it live. Get out of here.
Well, he had more than enough chances. They gave him a huge amount of time to get it right. You know?
Yeah, and again, if Hugh McDonald had an 80s glammy look or whatever back in 1983, I don't think we ever would have had Alec in the band. I think that
Mhm.
when the record companies got involved and said, you have to have a look, and they looked at you and they went, we can't have an accountant be the bass player. I mean, we can't. um I think that's why they had to get a guy who looked dirty and gritty and
Yeah, Alec had the look.
had to
It was
look.
fun too. I always liked watching Access All Areas because there was a lot of good times that they had on tour, even when things were, really rough on them. But I mean, some of the jokes in there, and like Alec was a funny guy.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bemoan him or anything, but
Oh yeah.
but I do think it would have been very different had they put you on, Fahrenheit.
Mhm.
Here's Alec and or whatever, John and thing, and then there's you. I probably would have clashed.
Yeah.
But I love you. I think he's the greatest. Truly one of the best underrated bass players. And what a great gig for him now. He doesn't have to worry. He gets to play a show, and then he can go around walking the mall and nobody annoys him. It's perfect.
Isn't that great?
I know. I know.
Sleep When I'm Dead, the party anthem of the album. Hey, but
Sleep When I'm Dead.
I think it was a reluctant single. Like it might have. I could almost say that should have been released earlier in the scheme of things, but I don't know. It's just fun. That the whole thing was just showing that the band is fun. We're still here to have a good time.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look at it. It was single number 4, huh? Wow.
Yeah, it was definitely later in the scheme of things. Even I Believe had a video, but I don't know if it was released as a single.
Well, according to what I'm looking at here, I Believe was the fifth single, and Dry County was the sixth single. Believe it or not,
It's a lot of singles from one album.
it is. And which is the one? If I Was Your Mother has a video, but I don't think was released as a single.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, it was on the Keep the Faith videos
Right.
compilation VHS that I had. Yeah.
VHS. Oh boy. Oh boy.
On my VHS, yeah. And it was one of those videos that I don't even know if they were actually performing the song If I Was Your Mother for the video, because it looked like he could have been singing anything. It was just a live performance video all smashed together.
Yeah, that's the way they do it, right? And but
Yeah.
back to I'll Sleep When I'm Dead. I mean, what was great about these songs is when they went on tour, they could slide these in between the Wanted Dead or Alives and the You Give Love a Bad Name,
Mm.
and they fit. You know, sometimes when a band goes out, you go, yeah, greatest hit, greatest hit. Ooh, what was that? It's a new one. Oh, okay. But these ones, they slid in. You went, oh, yeah, that's good. That
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
What a great tour that was. Holy mackerel. Good times. Yeah. But I'll Sleep When I'm Dead. They've also performed it acoustically, and it works too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there's also the Keep the Faith reggae version. Have you ever heard that one?
Yes. Yes, I have.
Live from Australia or whatever it was.
Yeah, I have that MP3 somewhere. But yeah, I Sleep When I'm Dead. It's a very simple, straightforward chorus. That's just a good time, really. The video is fun too. Just them
And
goofing around.
yeah, and I was going through university and stuff at that time, and you know, as it is in university, you got to study, and it was kind of like, and party, and it's kind of like, yeah, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I don't have time for. I
Yeah.
got to keep moving. Great inspirational song. Great song for the gym. Even
Yeah,
you know, these are great gym songs. This is a great gym tape.
it's motivational.
Mhm. It really is. You go to the gym and you got Keep the Faith pumping in you. You're like, yeah, all right, keep the faith. Give me some more weights. Let's go.
And In These Arms, the one that we talked about right off the top there, that this is the
Yeah.
anniversary of that release.
Well, it was released actually on May 9th, but the anniversary of its debut on Billboard's Top 100
mm,
was May 9th. May here, I got it. I have my note in front of me because I tweeted about it earlier because you know that's what I do on my wonderful Twitter. It's on this day. Let's see here.
yes.
In These Arms debuted at number 72 on Billboard's Hot 100 on May 8th, 1993. What a fantastic song. You know, when I go see a Bon Jovi show in whatever 2019, or you know, if they had done the tour with Bryan Adams last year, I keep thinking they got to play that one. That's one they got to play. That song never gets old. David Bryan has redone it a couple of times, and those versions are. I mean, a good song is a good song. So, In These Arms, done by David or done by not Bryan Adams, but by Bon Jovi.
Mm-hmm.
What a great song! And what I liked about it is that it straddled the line. It wasn't a balls out ballad that you just went, ugh, really again. So it was rocky enough to not be a ballad, but it was ballady enough to give you that, to tug at the heartstrings. So it's like, yeah, all right, you got it. That's a good one. Well done.
Yeah, the
Well
song
played.
had a lot of like slow down and jump back up in energy. It was climactic all over the place. I believe that's one of the songs that David Bryan, I don't know if he wrote it all himself, but he exclusively had a big role in writing that song.
Yeah, well, and that's probably why it ended up on his two on his solo albums, because he recorded an instrumental version and a sung version.
Mm-hmm.
But Bon Jovi and Sambora, I can see, did get writing credit. So they're like, yeah, Dave, sure, give us 20% and you can have this on the album. Yeah.
Those lyrics like roses need the rain and the seasons need to change, poet needs the pain. That's John right there. That's John.
Oh my God, those are great lyrics. Yeah, the one thing I can tell you as a Bon Jovi fan is I've never actually spent any time deconstructing the lyrics. It's just like, just give me the melody and the guitar and John's
Hmm.
voice, and I'm good to go. I'm sure if I spent
Yeah.
time looking at the lyrics, I'd be going, "Oh my God, what was that? Oh my God, oh my God."
Well,
You
that's
know?
it's funny because when I listen to music, that's the thing that makes me like a track is the music. I sometimes don't even pay attention to the lyrics until years later, and someone points out to me that this is what the song was saying. And I'm like, oh, I guess so. But
Well,
yeah,
it's
I'm
funny
with
because
you.
I interviewed a band recently, and I said, "Oh, this new album has a lot of political stuff, and Trump this and Brexit that." I go, "You've never done that before," and he goes, "The guy was like, what are you talking about?" He goes, "The song so and so was about child rape, and the child this, and the song was about the whatever," and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, probably shouldn't have told me that because." I kind of like the music now. Now I'm gonna have these horrible pictures. No, so it kind of ruined. So yeah. Sometimes it's just best not to listen to the lyrics and just enjoy, just bop along to the beat. Just
Yep.
like I was like, oh, you just ruined like 4 of your songs for me. Way to go. Thanks.
I just need a good guitar solo because like that's really important. I need a good guitar solo, and I mean like that's not something that's really important in music today, which is unfortunate.
It is, but everything has its moments and periods. I mean, the '60s stuff didn't have a lot of great guitar solos, and yet we love a lot of the '60s stuff, and the
Hmm.
'70s stuff had, so everything has its purpose.
It's
I don't see. I mean, I would like a nice guitar solo, but I don't know.
a
Uh,
good riff is nice. That's
It
always
is, it is. But listen, I've had a chance to listen to Post Malone because of my daughter, and
mm,
they don't do any of that stuff, but you can't say the songs aren't good and the guy's not. I mean, he is a talent and the songs
mhm.
are good, but they're good for a different reason.
I saw him recently on YouTube doing some country music with some old classic country artists, and I was like, this kid's got a lot of ability to make different genres all over the map. Post Malone, I'm
Yeah.
impressed. Yeah.
And he did a whole Nirvana concert. And it was like the first time I ever enjoyed it, enjoyed anything Nirvana. So,
I'm not a Nirvana fan myself. I was
well,
always a Soundgarden or Alice in Chains fan, and
yeah.
not so much Nirvana.
I personally never got into any of that. I didn't like the look. I didn't like the look of the videos. I didn't like the harsh sounds. I
Hmm.
really need a melody.
Hmm.
And those bands just weren't melodious to my ears.
Hmm.
I'm sure some musicologists will say, "Yeah, you can hear the melody." I'm like, "Yeah, great. I don't care about Black Hole Sun." You know,
Yeah.
uh, but I have nothing against them. I'm glad people enjoyed it. I'm glad they made a career out of it. Just my ears didn't like it. What can I tell you? And I saw Alice in Chains open up for Kiss on the reunion tour, and I just felt tortured for 45 minutes. Oh,
Mm.
it was evil. But if somebody else likes it, okay, good, good. Not, you know,
Something for everyone. Exactly. And we
yeah.
going into the ballad. Here we go with the ballad.
Cama de Rosa.
Commodore Rosa, epic ballad. The video with the Wayne Isham directed video with the shots of Richie up on top of that mountain was
Hmm.
just brilliant, brilliant. This is one of the whole point of this song is that the road is the mistress, right? I think it's like the first time that he wrote lyrics not knowing what to write about. And the second time was My Guitar Lies Bleeding in My Arms, where it's like he talks about sitting down, pen to paper, not being able to come up with something. So this is it.
I can just imagine the record company going, "Well, you don't have a ballad on this album." Okay. Bed of Roses.
Yep.
It's funny. I like Bed of Roses, and I even like Cama de Rosa, the Spanish version of it, and I think it was actually done in a third language, if I'm not mistaken. But um, today, sitting here now, I'd be like, I could live not having to hear that again, quite frankly. And yet
Yeah.
I like it. I don't know, but I'm looking at the track listing and I'm going, well, if I had a choice in concert to hear If I Was Your Mother or Bed of Roses, I'm going Mother. If I had the chance to hear
Yep.
Fear or Bed of Roses, I'm going Fear.
Yep.
You know, if
100%.
if I had a chance to hear "Save a Prayer" over "Better Wrong," you know, it's like I'm just looking at these going, I would take "I Believe," I would take "I Keep the Faith." So
Hmm.
it drops down to like number 12 or number 13 on the list. Still a great
Yep.
song and a great moment and a great video, but again, it was part of that undoing of the scene because you turn on the TV and you're like, hey, don't go away, Matt, just go away. Oh, hey, Better Roses. Oh, amazing. Oh, geez, I'm crying. I am fucking crying because I can't take this anymore. Oh, I'm literally crying because I can't take this anymore. So
About the
yeah,
time, yeah. But hey, there was only one really track like that on this album. So I mean, hey, John said he wouldn't have been able to write a song like this 5 years prior, but gaining experiences biking through America on the break gave him the inspiration for this in Dry County.
yeah.
So that's something he'd stated. But I don't know if this song was like a growth for him in his writing. Maybe.
It might have been, but I mean, you know, to me, if you listen to Never Say Goodbye or Better Roses or I don't know what came after This Ain't a Love Song. I mean, they're all sort of the same thing. They're not, you know, in terms of songwriting, I don't think one is more mature than the other.
Hmm.
I like all the songs. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. I think John was pretty established as a songwriter after Slippery. I think Slippery got him in, and then after that, everything was very high quality.
Hmm.
So I don't know. Great video though.
Very cool video. Going into what I mentioned earlier is my favorite Bon Jovi song of all time is "If I Was Your Mother," which is
Uh,
it goes so many interesting places melodically, especially after the bridge. Where love and then like how they take it back towards the chorus and with really cool vocal harmonies. It was melodically
it's it,
brilliant.
it's a perfect song.
It really
It's a
is.
perfect song that they have buried in their live performances. They just they don't even recognize it. You're just like, wow, it's such a good one. But I guess it's not a single. It doesn't have that sort of top 40 radio appeal, I guess.
John had done an Instagram thing, I think, when he was doing the anniversary of Keep the Faith, or he was I think it was week by week, he was talking about different albums. And
Right.
when he touched, I don't think he said much about that song at all. I think he barely grazed over mentioning it. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, how? I
Yeah.
don't,
That and Fear are to me probably the two best songs on the album.
mhm.
And they just, you know, I'm sure if you like talk to Rich and go, hey, Fear, he'd be like, we didn't record a song called Fear. What are you talking about? It was on Keep the Faith. I'll have to go check that. I don't know. Like I don't even think they realize that they even recorded those songs at this point. You know,
I
I mean,
think
I'm saying that facetiously, but
I do think that if I recall, John did have something positive to say about fear.
oh, did he?
I think so. I have to watch that again, but yeah, if you can find it, I think it's on his Instagram. Anyway, uh, yeah,
The
the
John
sub.
is. Did I ever tell you when I met John and the band?
No,
My famous Bon Jovi story. If you want to indulge me for 2 minutes.
yes, I do.
Uh, they brought the Crush tour up to the Colisée in Quebec City,
Mhm.
and the whole day starts with it's a 3-hour drive for me. So I figured I'm going to get there early and I'm going to go eat supper and so on and so forth. And the thing about the Colisée at the time is they were charging like 20 or $25 to park at the Colisée, but they only put up the gates like at 4 p.m. So I figured, okay, I'm going to get there before they put the gates up and I'm going to park. So when the show's over, I'll be one of the first to leave. And I got there super early, like at 2 p.m. And it was cold. It was beginning of May, and it was cold in Quebec City. But I had the black shorts on and the black hoodie, and I parked, and it was a 3-hour drive, so I had to pee. So I said to the security guard, I said in English, I said, "Where's the bathroom?" And he goes, "Oh, je comprends pas." I went bathroom, toilet. He goes, "Ah, toilet." He goes, down, right. I go, "Oh, okay, down." So I go backstage down to the right, and I'm backstage, and I'm like, huh, look at that. That's kind of interesting. And I just hang out there all day, and I walk back and forth, pretend you belong, right? So I
Yeah.
walk back and forth, and the security guards, hey, how's it going? I'm like, well, good. And I look like a roadie. And they do sound check, and I watch sound check. And I remember they did a John Cougar Mellencamp. I think they did Pink Houses or some, at sound check, and I'm watching the sound check, and the security guards watching me watch sound check. you know. Anyway, so the tunnel where the players come out, the hockey players come out, is where I stood the entire night, which is right stage. Let's see, stage right, audience left, right. So it was on stage right, and I just stood in that tunnel. I watched, and the security guard walked back and forth, and I never went to my seats. And the show ends, and I know it's about to end because I had seen it before. I'm like, okay, this is going to be the last song. I'm going to get out of here. So I start leaving, and the security guard grabs me and he goes, no, you're wrong way, this way, this way. And I went, oh, shit. Uh-oh. Damn it. Well, I've had a good night. It's been a good day. I had no supper, no nothing. I just stood in that venue, in that hallway pretty much for 9 hours. Anyway, so he runs me off to this room, and he puts me in the room, and I'm like, oh, great. And there were 30 ladies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were strippers, but we'll call them ladies. And I'm sitting there going, oh, okay. Well, this is interesting. Here I am in a room backstage at a Bon Jovi though. Okay. And I stayed away. I'm just like, just don't interfere. Just, pretend you belong.
Mm-hmm.
And Hugh McDonald walks in, and he's like, hey, how's it going? I'm just, hey, oh, great. And he goes, the ladies are here. I can see that. That's not for me. And he sits and he stands and talks to me. And then David Bryan walks in. He goes right over to the ladies. And Tico Torres walks in. He goes right over to the ladies, and they start, fawning over them. And Richie comes by and bails, gets out of there real quick. And John comes in, and I'm standing right by the door, and he bumps into me. And I go, hey. And he looks and he sees the ladies, goes, hey, how's it going? And he leaves. And for about 2 hours, I stood in this room with these ladies talking to Hugh McDonald the entire time, while Tico and David were getting acquainted. And it was just like the most surreal moment. And I had to work in Montreal the next day, and I had a 3-hour drive, but I ended up leaving at 2 a.m. I ended up getting home somewhere around 6 or 7 because I couldn't do the entire 3-hour drive without stopping to get a coffee.
Food.
I had to get food. I had to get coffee. I just had to get air so I wouldn't pass out. And I ended up having to go to work on half an hour sleep. I literally got to bed at 6:30 and had to get up at 7. And luckily I finished at 2:30 that day. So I got to go to bed at 2:30. I was just like, okay, just another 5 hours. But yeah, so that was the meet John and the band story. And it was just it's not a bad way to meet the band, but yeah, I mean, I got to watch sound check. I got, and it, probably all had to do with, I'm in Quebec City. I look like a roadie. I'm speaking only English.
Mm-hmm.
They must have assumed I was with the band. And when I got back there, instead of hiding, going, okay, I just walked around going, hey, how's it going?
Exactly.
I said hi to every security guard on purpose so that they'd go, oh, I know the face. Don't worry about it. But nobody asked me for a pass. Nobody asked me for a ticket. Nobody asked me for nothing. They just let me hang out.
That's wild.
I know. It's the greatest story ever. It was the greatest. It's the greatest moment of my life ever. I got to spend 9 hours backstage at a Bon Jovi show in Quebec City on the Crush tour. And I got to meet everybody except I didn't get to meet Richie because he literally just walked right by the room. Mm-hmm. But I shook this hand touched John. This hand shook John's hand. And, and I had the greatest conversation with Hugh McDonald just about love, life, and the pursuit of happiness. And
that would have been amazing just to pick his mind a little bit. And
an hour chat with you.
Yeah.
It was great.
I do have a backstage Bon Jovi story.
Oh, let's hear it.
Well, it was 1995 on the These Days tour, and I had won backstage passes to meet Richie from a local guitar shop.
Oh, nice.
So I had like the meet and greet type pass. So just they're going to be basically, they bring you into a room, you get to
Right.
talk to Richie for a couple minutes, take a picture, autograph, and you're done. Take you
Right.
back out. So that experience was great. I mean, I was really nervous. I was only 15 at the time. So like I'm
Wow.
shaking. I have nothing important really to say because I'm starstruck. Um, but he was cool. We did pictures and that, and then they lead us back out to our seats. And I'm thinking, no, this isn't good enough. Like I want to meet everybody. So similar story. I had a pass on. So local security just let me right back in there again. Walk
Yeah, 'cause
right past them.
they
No
don't
problem.
look.
They didn't care because it's Edmonton security. So I walk back there again. I can hear John's voice doing vocal warm-ups behind a door somewhere. Like I hear him and I'm just like, oh, okay, this is great. Doug Flutie is back there hanging out. Doug Flutie.
That's
Um,
great.
and then I look over another direction and Tico's sitting on a bench, just like practicing, warming up his hands, like just doing the thing. And I'm kind of nervous to interrupt him, but I walked over and I just said, is it okay if we have a picture together? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So, well, yeah, sure. We take a nice picture and then I just leave him alone. And then I think it was John's brother who came up to me and said, okay, yeah, they're about to come out. You need to go back. But hey, I tried. At least I got to meet Tico out of taking a risk there. And that was cool.
Yeah, that's great. And you're 15, so they're not going to be too rude to a kid. So that's perfect.
Yeah. And I was being respectable, polite, quiet. I wasn't being a like screaming freak. So yeah, it went well.
Two great stories of people who were there who shouldn't have been there.
Isn't it great? I love it.
But I'm telling you, Quebec City security is very easy. If you speak English and nothing but English, and don't let on that you speak any French, they will let you just walk right in. I did it a couple of years later, probably 2003 or yeah, it must have been 2000. There was a Dawkin Scorpions Whitesnake tour. Did the same thing. Showed up early, looked like a roadie, said I had to pee, and they sent me right back twice in my life, Quebec City. So that's the play in Quebec if you ever come out here.
You've got to keep going to that venue. And
I know. It's the greatest venue ever. Just walk right in. Hey, how's it going? I need a bathroom. Toilet.
Works every time.
Worked at least twice.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I should go back to the album, but
we're at Dry County.
We're starting Dry County, the monster of a song. I thought the song really proved that they were socially conscious and more than just living on a prayer, kind of like a tale of woe for the working man. It's just a masterpiece, and musically just as much as lyrically, talking about.
It really is. And it really is a great testament to the band's ability and song crafting, because if I was the record company, I'd say, John, you need 3-minute songs because I need them on the radio. I need singles. I can't have this.
Yeah.
And they probably had that conversation, and they stuck to their guns and they put out a 9-minute song. And when you think of 9-minute songs, you're thinking, early UFO, you're thinking Led Zeppelin, you're thinking whatever. You're not thinking Bon Jovi, and they did it, and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
What more do you want? And when they play it live, the times that they do, you would think that it would be a complete showstopper because it's 9 minutes and it's and Bon Jovi shows are about pyrotechnics and moving and running around the stage, or at least they used to be. Not so much now.
Yeah, no.
Now it's more about standing still.
Yep.
No offense. No
true.
offense. But hey, it's a great gig for you. He just stands in the darkness by the drum riser. But you would think that would be a show killer for a band like Bon Jovi that was all about, rising up from the stage and it works. And that's how great of a song it is. And again, it's one of the 9-minute songs or over 5-minute songs that I just don't get bored of. You just hear it, and you have to hear it to the end. Whereas when I hear November Rain, I hear 2 minutes and I go, gotcha, thank you, off I go. It's enough.
November Rain's not
Tedious.
even.
It is
Yeah, the
tedious.
chorus isn't even really interesting. I find that it's like the guitar work in that song that's interesting, but not really melodically.
And the guitar work is interesting when it is put in the video and you see the church and the sand or whatever.
That was a cool scene. Very cool scene. Yeah.
November Rain is great when there's the visual appeal, but take away the visual appeal and it's just tedious. I mean, you literally can walk to the bathroom 8 times during the song.
Don't Cry is a better song.
Yeah, Don't Cry is a better song. And everybody's favorite, Coma and Estranged. Ugh, just cut them down. 3 minutes. Stop it.
Isn't Coma one of those songs that they play at sound checks and in arenas to monitor like how the sound's moving throughout the place? I think they at least back in the 90s, I heard Coma at a lot of shows.
I saw them on the reunion tour in Toronto with Billy Talent opening up. God forbid. And
not a fan of Billy Talent.
No, well, I have nothing against the guy. It's just the music doesn't speak to me.
Right.
But they did Coma, and I was at the Sky Dome, and I just remember going, I have time to run to the bathroom because I was on the floor. I was like 8th row. So I was looking at the Sky Dome. Okay, I'm gonna have to run all the way down the floor, all the way up those stairs. And Coma started playing, and I went, okay, now's the time. And I went. People went, you didn't watch? I go, no, it's too fucking long. Sorry, can I swear on this, by the way?
Well, absolutely, yeah.
And it's boring. It's a masterpiece. Not to these ears.
Were you at the show when DNR and Metallica toured together? And
I was in Montreal
you were at that show?
I was at the Olympic Stadium show. Yeah, that was a fantastic evening. Let me tell you, what a waste of my day that was. I'll tell you the quick story on that one. I had seen Guns N' Roses previously, so I saw them in Saratoga Springs in June of I guess 1990, before the album even came out. And Skid Row opens, and what was I going to say? Skid Row comes on at 7:38. They do their half-hour set, and by the time it was like 11 o'clock or 11:30, Guns N' Roses hadn't come on yet, and fans were throwing bottles, and it was a disaster. And then they come on and play till 3 a.m, and they play a lot of the Use Your Illusion stuff, which nobody had heard because the album hadn't been out yet. And I was just like, oh God. And people were pissed. Previously, I'd seen them again in Saratoga Springs, New York, opening for Aerosmith, and fans were throwing bottles, and then Axl was trying to get into the audience, and again, it was a disaster. So I get to this show in Montreal, and my buddy Jay had bought a brand new Honda Civic, brand new. I mean, like this was the first drive, that kind of brand new, with those radios that you used to slide in and slide out. People don't steal them because I want to walk around the mall with my fucking radio. Remember those?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh God, it was those radios. Anyway, so we were like, we don't like Faith No More. We're gonna go eat pizza. So we go eat pizza, and then we get to the venue after Faith No More is played. But we heard it because the pizzeria was right in front of the Big O, so we heard the thumping, and we get in, and Metallica starts, and then whoosh, and the guitar, and like, oh, great. We've seen, what was it, 3 songs, 4 songs,
yeah,
and then nothing, and then Lars comes out and says, there was an accident, and we'll come back and play for you later. I was like, oh, I got 3 songs, great. And then we wait, and we wait, and we wait. And I think it was like another 3 hours. Now, if you've ever been to the Olympic Stadium in Montreal, you don't want to spend 3 hours in that place. It's cold, it's dank, it's dark, it's miserable.
Wow.
And we're, and then they come out and play. And Axl is sitting on the drum riser singing. And it's just like, is he like, seriously? He's going to fucking just sit there all night and sing? And he just eventually just turns around and he slams the mic down. He says something like, you know, your promoter will refund you, or you talk to your promoter about a refund, something like that. Totally, you know, and they just walk off. And they had played, I think, 7 songs. I'm just like, now, you know, this was the expensive ticket then. I forget how much it cost, but it was like $35 or $40 or $50, which back then was like, you know, $150.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, we spent all this money, drove all the way here, and it's not, I mean, it's only 60 kilometers from where I am, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, and my buddy Jay's like, no, look, we're gonna wait. They're gonna come back out. And I said, no, Jay, I've seen this before in Saratoga. This doesn't end well. And I go, you've got a brand new car and it's small. They will flip that fucker. Let's get out of here. So
Oh, wow.
we got to the car, and then you could see shit starting to happen in the back and bottles being, and we got the hell out of there. So I didn't actually see the riot
But
like
you're
up
smart
close,
to get
because
out.
it was happening in the back, but we're like, get to the just get to the car, get to the car, just get to the car. I go, Jay, you're not gonna have a car if we stick around. And you know what? We were parked right where they started flipping over cars, and he had a tiny little Honda Civic, which was, you know, shiny and new. I mean, it literally was still sparkly. It
Mhm.
was so new. They would have flipped. And since then, Jay goes, you know, you saved my car. I go, yeah, fucking right, I saved your car. Fucking right, I did. They would have flipped that little piece of crap over, you know, a 1991 or 1992 Honda. Please,
Mm.
2 people just go flip and it goes flop. Yeah, but so we spent a whole bunch of money, and we saw, I guess, a grand total of 9 songs.
Oh my goodness, what?
What?
But I guess it's something to say you experienced that show, because that one goes down in history infamously.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. A lot of this stuff that happens, you got to wait 30 years for it to be a cool story.
Yeah.
But yeah,
At the time, you'd just be like,
by the time we were
"Aw."
kind of pissed because,
Yeah.
you know, Jay was a massive, massive Metallica fan, more than he was Guns N' Roses. And at that time, I was a massive Guns N' Roses fan, more than I was of Metallica. So it was like the perfect way to satiate both of us in one evening.
Yeah.
Turns out we left both disappointed. And then, you know, Donald K. Donald and whoever else said, we're not going to refund you. You got enough of a show. If you add the Faith No More, plus of this, plus of that, you got over an hour of music. Fuck
Are
off.
you
And I was just like,
serious? That was my next question. Did you get refunds?
nope. Nope.
Wow.
They said, well, it's Faith No More's fault. They played a full set. So they said, nope, you got a full set of this, and you got you got over an hour of music.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's
Too bad.
Is there? Oh fuck! I'd be mad. I'd be so mad.
Yeah.
I didn't get in
And
for Faith No More.
Metallica did a cool thing. They came back in February and said, we're going to make up for this. And they did 2 shows at the Forum. And I forget what the deal was. If you brought your ticket,
Mhm.
you got in for free, or you got it in or for 10. I forget what it was, but
Mhm.
I didn't want to trade in my ticket because I could sort of sense the historic purpose of it. I'm not trading this in. It's the ticket of the fucking riot. I'm not trading that in.
Mhm.
And it was also in the middle of February, and I wouldn't have been able to go anyway. So I held on to it, and I didn't see those shows. But for at least 40,000 fans, they had a chance to trade in the ticket for just, I forget exactly what the deal was, but there was something about if you bring your Olympic Stadium ticket, you get into the show anyway. So they did do 2 makeup shows for the
Mhm.
fans. Metallica did. Guns N' Roses did nothing.
Of course not.
But yeah, of course. But Metallica did. So for those that took advantage of that, they got a good deal. And I still regret that I didn't go. Quite frankly, I should have gone. I should have just traded in my ticket for the. I think actually it really was free. I think it was, you trade in your
Mhm.
Olympic Stadium ticket, you get a free. I think that was the deal, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, they did 2 makeup shows, and I missed them.
Good story though.
And everybody tells me that they're
All
the
the
2 greatest
grandkids.
Metallica shows ever, and I was like, of course they are. Of course they are.
You had to
Of course
miss
they are.
those.
Of course they are. There's a couple of bootlegs floating around from those Montreal makeup shows that
Mhm.
are actually like stereo soundboard. They do sound pretty damn good. I mean, I figured, well, at least I'll buy the bootlegs, which I
There you
did.
go. There you go. Wow.
Yeah. Woman in Love.
A little bit like Women in Love. It's not a song I listen to much. It's probably the one of the ones that it's a good song, but it didn't really appeal to me that much.
Yeah, um I didn't re-listen to the album before this because I know these songs off the top of my head. I
Yeah.
Want You Fear. I blame it on the love. Or I can sing all that stuff.
Yeah.
Woman in Love, I know that when I hear it, I like it, but
Yeah.
currently I don't. It's just there's no soundtrack going through my head. So
Ain't no
I get
secret to a woman in love, or
right.
something like that.
Yeah,
Something like
that's
that.
it. Now I've got the soundtrack going. But yeah,
I
but
can't
that
think of
said,
I can't think of the verse. I don't
it,
know.
it is reasonably forgettable.
But it's all right. Like it's still like it's if they
It's a
put
good
that
song, but it's forgettable.
yeah. I think oh
Yeah.
the ending is funny because it just ends on I need a woman. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, but
Like
then but that's perfect because Fear goes doo, 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 like
mhm.
it starts it right off into Fear. Fear
Maybe
kicks right at.
I bet you I skipped that song just to get to Fear. That's what it is.
Fear is the greatest Bon Jovi song that 90% of the population has never heard of.
Hmm.
Unless you're a diehard Bon Jovi fan, you don't even know it exists, but it is such a good song.
And
So,
the title totally encompasses the feel of the track, and it's got this frantic energy.
yeah.
That's oh, the pre-chorus is the best part too. Oh, I'm a big fan on harmony. Harmony always gets me, and it's really cool in that tune.
Yeah, and there's some sound effects going. There's just everything. That song is perfect. I just
The
hmm.
only thing I would take out is the sirens because when I'm driving, that annoys me. I don't like hearing sirens when I'm driving because I'm like looking around all the time, like,
Yeah.
who do I have to pull over?
It's funny. I heard Fear because I had that, like I said, that this Bon Jovi playlist. So I played it, and I was walking the dogs last summer, and I hear this siren, and I start looking, and it made me all like nervous. I'm on the sidewalk going, "Oh my god, I got the dogs! Is there something?" And it's just like I was like, "Oh yeah, it's fucking Fear." Oh god.
It's yeah, yeah.
I
No, I'm
hate,
not
by the
that.
way, I hate all songs with sirens because that always happens. I'm either thinking I'm getting pulled over by a cop, or I'm thinking there's an emergency situation. I got to get off the road, and
Yeah, I'm usually looking around for an ambulance trying to get out of
yeah,
the way or a fire truck.
stupid sirens. Nobody needs sirens in life.
There's a lot of radio stations that put that in their like jingles and stuff, and it's
Yeah,
really annoying.
stupid radio stations.
But
We don't need
other than
sirens.
no, we don't. Other than that, Fear is perfect.
Fear is unbelievable. If Bon Jovi manages to go on tour soon, whether it's 2021 or 2022,
Mhm.
and they write their fans and say, "What's the one deep cut you want to hear? We'll play it for you this time. We'll make an exception. We won't stick to the same 15." Um, I would vote for Fear. Be like, yeah, give that a shot. Let's see Phil
Yeah.
handle that. Of course he would.
He would. He would absolutely annihilate it. It'd be
Of
great.
course. He'd
The,
probably
the,
even make it more metal than it is.
there's so many songs that I figured that John would never touch again because he can't sing them in the same range. I mean, they drop keys all the time, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's some
And they
things I
run
think,
tape once in a while.
yeah, I don't know. There's probably, I think I would go with If I Was Your Mother for that choice, but I can't see them doing that live. Just
Mm.
can't.
How about both?
Just give me both. I'd be so happy. Anyway.
Hey, what are we looking at here? It's the 30th next year, right? Yeah, it's the 30th next year. How about a Keep the Faith 30th anniversary tour?
Play the album in its entirety.
Yeah. Well, skip Woman in Love, but for the rest,
Do you like the band Extreme?
I do.
I went to Chicago to see them about 5 years ago because they were doing the Porno Graffiti in its entirety. I think it was the
Mm.
25th anniversary. Yeah, that was cool. That's pretty, like, I absolutely huge fan of Extreme. It was worth the show.
Yeah, I know Gary, and we get along great, and they just deliver live. I saw them twice recently, one at the Heavy Montreal and the other time at the M3 Festival in Maryland.
Mhm.
And you just can't compete. I mean, the guitar playing's insane. Gary's an incredible frontman,
Mhm.
and yeah, no, they're
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 in
just
a
a
league of their own.
terrific band, and they have a new album coming out that was supposed to be out, but COVID has derailed it. But it's completely finished, and as soon
Oh,
as they
thank
can
goodness.
tour, they're going to release it, and I've had a chance to hear a little bit, and it's great. It's great. Yeah, they
That's going to be a highlight of my future, is hearing their new album. I'm so stoked for that.
yeah, you're definitely going to dig that, and hopefully it'll come out at the end of 2021. I mean, it was supposed to be out, I believe, September of 2020, and they're clearly holding on to it because of this touring situation, but
It's
it'll
smart.
be out soon, and you'll hear it.
The fans are really antsy in like the groups and forums and stuff, because they're like, okay, hurry up already. But I see why they're doing that, and it's smart. Gotta wait.
Yeah, I'm this far into the pandemic, I understand. At the beginning, when John delayed the 2020 album because it was supposed to be out in May, I was like, oh, that's so stupid. I mean, I've got nothing to do. We're all locked down. We're locked down in LA and Edmonton. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So we'll play the F out of your album. No, we can't have it. Dude, got nothing to do. Give me some music. No.
It didn't make any sense.
It made no sense to me.
Yeah.
And they go, well, we can't have an album if we can't tour. You know what? You can tour it next year and say, hey, we didn't get to tour it last year, but nobody's going to go, oh, no, sorry, no. You waited a year. No, I'm not going to go to your. No, nobody's going to do that.
Yeah. They're not doing anything. Like, help us out here a little bit and give us some music.
Yeah. And I got to say, there's a lot of bands that I wasn't a great big fan of, and they put out albums, and I sat there and I listened to them because I had nothing else to do. And I absolutely love those albums. So it's like, look, it worked. You should have done it.
But
yes.
We are on to I Want You, the ballad, the other ballad.
Yeah.
Ballad. I like it. I do. It could have been a single.
Well, the whole album could have been a single if properly done. Well, maybe not Blame It on the Love of Rock, but yeah. But when you're on an album with In These Arms, what are you gonna do?
You're gonna pick In These Arms. Yeah,
you're gonna pick In These Arms. I mean, yeah. And as much as I've heard enough of Bed of Roses at the time, it was a great single. It's a great song. It's a great video. So, you got In These Arms, Bed of Roses, I Want You. There's no chance that I Want You is going to get any love from anybody.
Yeah, it's kind of just a stereotypical love ballad. There's nothing really special about it, but I do like it. And I like the lyrics about all I got is my guitar, these chords, and the truth. There's some cool lyrics in there. Yeah, probably another love letter to Dorothea,
Were they love letter to Dorothea at the time, or were they somebody else?
Who knows? But I think they were probably at a good place then, but who knows? Blame It on the Love
of rock and roll. Yeah, that's hold 1 second. I've got a uppity dog, so I'm letting the kids know to come get them. Okay. There we go. Yeah, Blame It on the Love of rock and roll. That worked for me because it was anthemic. Driving around with the tape the tape deck rocking in the, what was it at the time? A Mazda 323. Oh my God, I'm embarrassed to say that.
That's awesome.
It's hard to be taken seriously in a Mazda 323. But yeah, I mean, I was like, yeah, I love rock and roll. Blame it on my love of rock and roll.
Got my vaccination from a phonograph needle.
Yeah. Which is I think is a line from Hooked on Rock and Roll from another artist, or Peter Criss covered that.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. So that totally spoke to me. I was completely down for that. Great song. Great. I mean, it's not a single in any way, shape, or form, but it's a great deep cut.
It felt like a throwback to New Jersey a little bit for me. I felt like this would have been like a Bad Medicine type of tune. Like just
is it me, or is Bad Medicine overrated? I like Bad Medicine, but I don't see all the love for it. I mean, it's a good song.
I don't love it.
Please, there's a million better songs.
Stick to Your Guns is a way better song.
Yeah.
Way better. Or Wild as the Wind,
Yeah.
Those are great tracks.
I even like 99 in the Shade better.
That's a great track too. I think it's like with Bad Medicine, it was just one of the more of those party mass appeal arena type songs. And that's why it got chosen.
And I think one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of, I mean, I like Bad Medicine, don't get me wrong, but I got tired of it real quick is because for so many years, for about 15 years, um, uh, they kept putting in that shout, na na na, shout, and it was just like, ugh,
Oh, that's annoying.
do I
hate
need
the
a
shout thing.
12 fucking minute version of? I don't need 12 minutes of this. And every
Yeah.
year, it was shout.
They
Like,
always
if
do
you're,
that still. Like, or the last I saw them, they were still
oh, do
doing
they?
that.
It's like,
And then, oh, I hate,
yeah.
you know what song I hate Who Says You Can't Go Home. I do. And when they do it live with it, it's
Well,
all
you know
right,
what?
it's
I'll
all
tell you
right.
what.
It drives me nuts.
This is going well.
Ooh.
You want to give me 1 second?
Sure, no problem.
Hold on. The joys. Hopefully that doesn't screw up your editing and stuff.
No worries.
Oh, that dog. That dog. He when he walks around like a shark, it's because he has to go pee or whatever. So I texted my daughter, said, you got to come get him. But he doesn't like leaving me.
Oh, poor pupper.
So you heard the little chihuahua in him getting aggravated. Anyway, yeah. You know, the Who Says You Can't Go Home. I was what was that album called again? Not Bounce. It was
Have a nice day. Yeah.
So before Have a Nice Day was released, they had sent in a version of the album to the record company. And that version of the album was rejected. And they had to do it again. And
Wow.
yes. And so somebody had sent me, and I probably shouldn't admit this publicly, but I will. Somebody had sent me a CD of the new Bon Jovi album before it got rejected. And so you've got Have a Nice Day as a 6-minute song with a big giant bridge in the middle, sounding very much like Blood on Blood.
Oh.
You have the song I Wanna Be Loved with completely different lyrics.
I think I've heard that.
Right. Yes, because I think they might have released it after eventually. Or anyway.
I found some tracks here and there that were different. So there must
you
be
have a song called Nothing that was never released officially.
Oh, I love that song.
But you had Who Says You Can't Go Home as a duet with Keith Urban.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got it. I'm gonna say I got the CD like in September, and the album ended up coming out like in the spring or later on. Anyway, so for at least 6 months, I had a chance to listen to Have a Nice Day with that long bridge, and I had a chance to hear the Keith Urban. So I grew an appreciation for that song. So I know when you say you don't like it, it's because then they put out that Sugarland version, and it was abysmal. You just went, oh.
And I like Jennifer Nettles. I think she's fantastic, but the song started to annoy me after a while instead of.
Yeah,
like,
but the version with Keith Urban was great, but it
was.
But of course, I understand why they couldn't release it. I mean, you got two guys that sort of sound alike singing a song. It's like, okay, it doesn't really work, you know. But yeah, you're gonna have to hear that Have a Nice Day someday.
I'll find it. I know I will. But I just think that song just started to get on my nerves after a while. And I credit that a lot to hearing it live, because I hate that call and answer thing that they do with it. It just drives me nuts. I don't know why.
Yeah, there are some bits to the routine that John and company need to clean up. The shout during Bad Medicine has got to go. That give and take crowd participation has got to go.
You'd think that they would be bored of it themselves. that they'd want to mix it up. If they want to do a cover, throw in a different cover that they haven't done yet.
Yeah.
And this band's good at doing covers. They're very good at doing covers. I've
They're
always
great
found-
at doing live shows too, but
Yeah. So yeah, just change it up. Give us something new. But yeah, going on to a little bit of soul. This is a good feel good jam at the end of the record, kind of leaves everything on a positive note. Strong
well,
bridge.
keep in mind that on the Japanese version, it wasn't the end of the record. Save a Prayer was.
Oh, I got that in my bonus section here.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit of soul's great. It reminded me of trying to think. It reminded me of one of the Bad Medicine songs. Was it 99 in the Shade or oh no, Love for Sale. It reminds me a little bit of Love for Sale. It had that sort of loosey goosey vibe. I mean, I know they don't they're not like cousins or anything, but it had sort of a loose vibe to it, like Love for Sale did, and I dug that.
It did. It felt like you were just hanging out at a jam.
Yeah, which is kind of like what Love for Sale. I mean, Love for Sale is a goofy song, but it's a goofy fun song. And A Little Bit of Soul is sort of a goofy fun song. Now, Save a Prayer, that's the Edge of a Broken Heart here. I mean, that is such a great song. You just go, oh, they left it off. And you're like, oh God, why? You didn't didn't you learn anything from Edge of a Broken Heart?
But we've learned that John doesn't always know what songs are going to be successful and ones aren't, just from what he did with Always.
Or Every Day.
When he shelved it. Yeah. So, I mean, his interpretation of what he thinks is the great song sometimes, I don't know. Don't agree
Every
with it.
interview on Bounce. Every day is our new living on. It's our new. And 5 years later, he goes, I really thought Every Day was going to be great. It didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, and he's the first to admit it. He's like, I didn't think that song was worth anything, and then it was really good. Like he'll say, yeah, I'm not good at judging what's going to work and what isn't.
Yeah, well, he needs a better pizza parlor.
But Save a Prayer it actually kind of reminded me of U2 for the first time in something I heard from them. I did. I don't know why. But I feel now they sound more like U2.
Oh, you know what the other track was Starting All Over Again.
I like that one.
Yeah, let me see here. All right, let's see. So let's see. Save a Prayer. So take Save a Prayer and Standing. Okay, so throw out Woman in Love and throw out I Want You and put those two in, and that's a perfect album.
That's a right good there. Point. Yeah, I don't think anything else would be something you'd want to throw out. That's for sure.
Think about how Save a Prayer starts. So you go from Dry County into how Save a Prayer starts. One fades out slowly, and then one sort of builds up slowly.
Yeah,
they would fade in really nice, and then Fear going into starting all over again. Because you have Fear, and now you're starting all over again. And then goes into Blame It on Rock. No, I'm gonna have to go try that playlist myself later.
Yes. You should have produced this album. Wow.
I should have. It's funny. I didn't produce a Honeymoon Suite album, but they have an album called Clifton Hill. And the manager at the time, Tom Tremuth, sent it to me. And he goes, listen to this. And I went, it's bloody horrible. I can't take it. And I put it in my iTunes and I shuffled it around and I went, it's brilliant. So I sent it back. I said, Tom, you got to listen to the sequence that I put it in, the track list and the way I put it. And he listened, he goes, that's brilliant. I go, yeah, because they didn't have any flow to it. It was just like a brick, here's and I went, no, a couple of big ones, a slower one, a couple of,
that can change everything.
And it did, because the album as it was sent to me was just tedious. And then I gave it some peaks and valleys, and Tom was like, oh, that's brilliant. He goes, do you mind if we use that? I go, well, why would I mind if you use that? It's your songs. Of course you can use that way. And the album ended up coming out with the way I had sequenced it in my iTunes. And it was just like, yes, smart move, boys.
Wow.
Smart move.
Clifton.
I'm good at the sequencing thing. It's my hidden talent.
That's cool. Yeah, Clifton Hill. I'll have to check that out.
Clifton Hill.
I had them on the show last year. That was really cool, Chad. I like that a lot.
Fun guys.
Yeah.
Derry is underrated guitarist. I have always said that he's Canada's Eddie Van Halen. I mean, he really is a tasteful player who can wail.
Hmm.
You know.
Oh, no, it was a good chat too. I mean, they're out of well, they are from Niagara Falls, correct? I think Clifton.
Yeah, well, mostly from that area. I mean, now they're not. I mean,
Mhm.
one of them lives in Illinois,
Mhm.
not too far from Chicago. But yeah, they're from let's call it Southern Ontario.
There you go. I have to head out east again one day. The far east I've been is Toronto. That's it. I've got to go see more of this country. I want to go visit the Maritimes and
You got to come out to Montreal. I mean, politics aside, it's a great city, and
Mhm.
having traveled the world, I can really say that Montreal is one of the greatest places for a meal. I mean,
Mhm.
whether you go to an Indian restaurant or a poutine place, or there's just a quality to the meals here.
Mhm.
You try to get uh, you try to get a healthy meal in Los Angeles, and it's either going to cost you $200 or it's just going to be blah. Whereas here, I don't know, Montreal is just a great eating town. It just really is a great eating town, and there's some
And a
nice things.
good live entertainment scene. I've
Yeah, when it's here.
in the yeah. Let's pretend this isn't happening, but yeah.
Between Just for Laughs and the Jazz Festival and just regular concerts and Osheaga and Lasso and Heavy Montreal, it really is vibrant. I mean, from mid-June, from when they start the Grand Prix, from mid-June to you know end of August, it's a rockin' town. It's hot, it's sweaty,
Mhm.
great food, always something to go, and
Yeah, I'd love to come visit that place sometime for sure. Yeah,
yeah.
I get it.
Get
But
them.
but yeah, like basically we kind of, summed up the whole album of Keep the Faith. And the thing that I didn't mention to you yet is this is the album that I discovered Bon Jovi on. To be honest with you, I grew up in a very religious household. Rock and roll was frowned upon. So I mean, when I started to discover my own music, it was probably around 87, 88. And
Yeah.
I gravitated towards a lot of pop then. So this is when I was starting to get into rock and roll. When Keep the Faith came out, I was like, I like this a lot. And
Yeah.
then I went into the back catalog from there. And to this day, they're my favorite band of my life, you know?
You
So
know, Bon Jovi reignited my flame for harder rock at the time, because I came out of the '70s loving Aerosmith and Cheap Trick and Kiss, and then come the early '80s, they were just woeful. No offense.
mhm.
And I got into Cuts Like a Knife, and I got into
Yeah.
Camouflage by Rod Stewart. Some guys have all the luck, and I got into Huey Lewis and the News, sports, and I had that period of Reckless, and 3, 4, 5 years, and then I heard, and I remember it was the living room TV, and You Give Love a Bad Name came on,
Hmm.
and I wasn't waiting for it. It just came on, and I stopped in my tracks and I stared at that, and I just went, fuck yeah.
Mhm.
And I remember going to the newspaper and I said, you know what? I said, if it's on sale, I'll go buy it. And it was at Discus, the old Discus chain, on sale for $5.99 the cassette. And I went straight to the mall and I bought it. And I went, if it sucks, it's only $5.99, and at least I'll have one good song. And the mall is 14 kilometers away, so by the time I drove home, I heard, I don't know, 3 songs, 4 songs, and I was just like, dude, I'm this is it. I'm in. Bon Jovi.
Old.
I don't know who they are, but Bon Jovi, you know.
Yeah.
Trying to think, what I can't remember off the top. What were the first 3 songs? So Let It Rock, You Give Love a Bad Name,
And
Living on a Prayer.
social
I heard though.
disease. Social
I don't
disease
know.
was in maybe after that. Okay.
It was 4th, but I don't remember if I got to, so, but I know that I got through the first 3 songs, and I was just like, dude, I'm in. So, that's it. I'm in.
Hmm.
And then from there, all those other bands that I had seen on TV but I hadn't bought, once I had exhausted the Bon Jovi catalog, then I moved on to the Def Leppard catalog, and then Poison
Ah,
came out,
yes.
and like I saw the Pyromania stuff all over TV, but I didn't buy the stuff. But then after Bon Jovi and You Give Love a Bad Name, I bought the stuff and I just went, okay, now we're in.
Hmm.
And then, then the Poisons and then the Guns N' Roses. And so it's entirely You Give Love a Bad Name that got me into the hard, or the whatever. We'll call it hard rock, even though when you look back on it, it's more like,
Ain't that hard now, is it?
ain't that hard now. It's more pop rock, but
Right.
yeah, I mean those sounds, that whole thing. I mean, thank you, Desmond. Thank you, John. Thank you, Richie. I mean,
Oh,
good
Desmond
God.
Child, what a talent that man.
Yeah,
So
yeah. My buddy actually, Jeremy, is interviewing him this upcoming week.
yeah, I've watched a few of Jeremy's interviews. I like him. He's pretty cool. He's good at it. I liked. I saw one where he was talking to Brian Adams on his stage.
Yeah,
That
I was on that stage with him.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's every so often I post a picture of me standing on that stage at the Bell Center, because it's Brian Adams standing at the Bell Center.
Exactly.
We Jeremy and I went down to Syracuse to see the Billy Idol and Brian Adams tour a couple of years ago, and we got there and we went out to say hello to Steve Stevens, and I talked to Mickey Curry, the drummer, about doing an interview. Anyway, so we're backstage, and all of a sudden you hear this vocal of "Sweet Dreams." Sweet dreams are made of, and it was Brian warming up, and it was him and a guitar singing "Sweet Dreams," and it was the greatest version of "Sweet Dreams" I've ever heard. I mean, that raspy voice doing "Sweet Dreams" is I would just,
Yeah.
I just wish that it wouldn't be like the rehearsal. I would hope that someday he says, you know what, I fucking nailed this song, I'm just gonna record it, because
Yeah.
like even as we were talking to Mickey Curry, we just all stopped and just, "Sweet dreams on me," and it's just like, oh, and it just, all three of us were just like, oh, that's good.
And if you can just do it acoustically, just your voice and the guitar, that's impressive.
It was him and his guitar, and it was just, man, it was good. It was so good.
Did you ever see him on the tour where he played bass?
I did. That was the tour, the where they did that Live at Budokan album. So that was 2007, 8, or earlier, maybe. I'm trying to think.
Maybe. It was after A Day Like Today, that album. On A Day Like
Yeah, but I did see that at the Bell Center. I don't miss Brian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm gonna miss
big
Genesis this time. I'm not gonna miss Brian.
But like when they were going to do Brian Adams and Bon Jovi, I had planned to actually fly to the States to see it, because of course they're not coming to Edmonton. But like I planned to go, and then this pandemic happened, so I was like, two of my favorites together.
The tour was coming to Montreal, but not together, because in Canada, Brian is a headliner and didn't want to open. And I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake, get over yourselves.
That was his decision?
Well, that's my understanding.
Okay.
Because in Montreal, Bon Jovi booked a night, and then a few nights later, Brian booked a night. So they were both going to come play the Bell Center. So I was going to see both, but I was going to see both on different nights.
Right.
It's like, oh, come on.
Well, in the States, was Brian actually going to be considered an opener, or was he going to be like an even show?
No, he was an opener. I saw in 2004-ish, maybe 2005, I saw Brian Adams on tour opening up for Def Leppard in the States. So
I thought he had the US wrapped around his finger, but maybe not.
Nope. He's an opener in the States. When I listen on the Billy Idol shows, they swapped, but yeah, I mean, I saw the show in New Hampshire, and then I saw the show in Syracuse, and in Syracuse, Brian went first, and there wasn't as I mean, the place wasn't packed out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, I think it's probably like the time frame too. Maybe in the 90s, he would have been filling all the arenas in the US, after Everything I Do came out during that time.
Yeah, from Reckless onwards, I guess. But after that, I don't think.
I think anywhere else he tours in the world, though, it's sellout arenas. including obviously Canada, but I think Europe, Japan, everywhere else.
Europe and Japan, he's a stadium guy.
Yeah.
But can you just imagine if Bryan Adams, Def Leppard, and Bon Jovi were to tour together? I mean, that would be
I'd
a
follow them
stadium
everywhere.
tour. That would absolutely be a stadium tour.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why they're not. I know there's always been this thing about John and Def Leppard not sharing a stage or for whatever
They
fucking
did
reason.
like a few years ago. They did a show together in Europe.
Yeah, but it's rare.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You take Bryan Adams, Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, and for shits and giggles, you throw in Whitesnake. And you just throw that into every stadium across the North America.
Mm-hmm.
Won't
Absolutely.
do it. They won't do it. Tickets would be expensive. Oh, I don't give a fuck. That's worth $300.
I think so. I'd be there. For
Yeah,
sure.
They don't want to do it. Anyway.
I'm really grateful to have had a chat with you today about all this stuff. It's been really fun. So thank you.
It's been great. And I apologize for the barking dogs, but you know,
That's nothing. That's all.
yes,
It's all
every
fixed
so
for you.
often you gotta live with that.